I've come to Elan Valley today to do a bit of landscape photography. So if you want to take photographs, if you want to see how to take photographs like this, God it's windy, then please keep watching. Right, God it's only just got here, so I'll get blown off here. I don't know if it's going to be a great photo shoot today, but it's a little bit windy. But if I get a good photograph, I'll show you how I did it. But if not, keep watching anyway, because I need the views. God, I need the views. Oh, I'm going to lose the camera. It's so windy. That is the dam. And on the other side is a big red bar. And I'm going to try and get up there and take some photos. But the weather is a bit blowy. So we'll see how it goes today. I think this will be a challenge. It's so windy. Have a look at all the water being blown across here. I can hardly stand up at the moment. So I'm going to try and find somewhere a little bit more sheltered to take some photos. Oh, I looked at the weather forecast this morning and it said it's going to be great, but it didn't turn out to be that way. So it's really cold, it's really windy, snowy and rainy, so we'll have to see what we get today. There's a really nice cottage over the back there, so I just took a quick photograph using the 100 to 400mm lens. Unfortunately, the mountains in the background aren't really high enough, and what I wanted to do was to try and really make that building small against the mountains and make it really insignificant, but it didn't seem to work that way. But there's just a massive snowstorm that came through just as I was taking the photograph, so that might have added a bit more drama to the image. But the light wasn't on it, so I don't know. So I'm just going to wait to see. Oh, there's a bit of light now. Here it comes. See if I can get it on the building. And here it comes. There, I've got it. Right, that's a nice photograph. So I just want to wait now till the sun comes out a bit more on it. See if I can highlight the farm. Okay, I've changed the composition now, so I've gone for more of a landscape photograph, and I've just got to wait till the sun comes onto the building, which you'll do any minute now, and then I'll take the photograph. So it's lit up just now. I don't know if you can see on the back of the camera very well, but the histogram is more to the left, but because the building is white, you lose complete detail in it. So even though it's a flat surface, I don't really want to burn out the highlights in the building, so I'm underexposing it slightly, so when the sun does hit the building, it doesn't burn out the highlights, and then I can bring that back in Lightroom, and I can probably boost the shadows a bit more in Lightroom, which is easier to do because there's detail in them. But as soon as you lose the detail in the highlights, you can't bring that back. So that's one thing to consider. And even though it's quite a small part of the image, it's quite an important part, so that's something to note. I found a nice composition by this waterfall. So what I've done, I'm using the 16 to 35mm lens. I'm using the polarizing filter to cut the glare off the water, and I'm just waiting for the sun to go behind the clouds, because we're getting a lot of light coming in, hitting the white, and it's just blowing the contrast out, and we're burning out all the highlights. So what I'm doing is just waiting. I think it's just going to go now. I'm going to take two photographs here. One is going to be with a very short shutter speed to capture the movement in the water, and then the other one I'm going to take is using a longer shutter speed, so it blurs the water more. They're going to have exactly the same exposures, they're going to be exactly the same composition and everything like that, but what I'm just showing is there's you'll get two completely different photographs just by changing your shutter speed. So this is quite often what I'd like to do when I'm going somewhere and photographing things, but I quite like having blurred milky water in my photos, but it's not to everyone's taste. So if it's not to yours, then just increase your ISO or open up your aperture to let a lot more light into the sensor, so then you can get a quicker shutter speed. I found this really nice, beautiful rock here. It's got it's basically like lots of little swirls in it, so I've put that in the bottom right hand corner of my shot, and what I've got is, you can see the waterfall coming past on the left hand side, and I've got the waterfall leading up to the top left. I'm using a shutter speed of, I think it's half a second to blur the water a bit, and I've also used f16 to try and get a long depth of field from the foreground to the background. The sun has just come out right over in the distance there, so I'm trying to get a nice large landscape photograph because I didn't think the weather was going to be great today to get any real wide vistas, so I think I'll be concentrating mostly on intimate shots like waterfalls. But the sun has just appeared behind that dam over the back, so I'm quickly taking a photograph just while the light's there, and I think it's pretty much gone again. So I'll just talk you through the shot. I've got a 100 to 300mm lens set on about 150. I'm using the Polariser to cut the glare off the water to try and make it a bit darker. I'm using ISO 100, f11 and 40th of a second. Elan Valley is such a beautiful place. It's right in the middle of Wales, and it's basically just a load of dams and things and reservoirs for the water for Birmingham. So it's a really nice place just to come and go for walks or see the wildlife. There's loads of red kites around, or just the scenery is absolutely stunning. Take a look at that, if you can see it behind me. So it is a great place to do landscape photography. Right, I've just had to come in the car now because it's heavens have opened and it's we're getting lots of hail. So as you just saw, I took that shot. This is what it looks like now. Unfortunately, this isn't the sunny weather conditions that we're promised, but it's still interesting, and I might try and get a photograph later. It's really noisy, so I hope you can hear this okay. Yeah. Right, I just managed to get a nice photograph in between the hail showers. The light right in the distance was shining on the hillside, so I managed to get a quick shot. I didn't video it because I was trying to be quick, because these hailstorms they're so frequent at the moment. I just got pelted. So as you can see, it's now stopped hailing again, so it keeps coming and going. So I don't know how many shots I'm going to get today, but it's definitely adding to the drama. Right, I found this really lovely composition with these stunning, beautiful rocks here. They've got loads of striations going all the way through them, and the water's whirling around them, making some beautiful patterns. So the sun has been on the mountains in the background. So what I'm trying to do is get a photograph when this is in shade, so the foreground is in shade, because I don't want to burn out the highlights in the white water, but have the light on the background. So I'm using the 16 to 35mm lens at 16mm, and I've got ISO 100, f16 and half a second. So that's enough to blur the water and make it nice and milky. So all I'm waiting for now is a bit of light to hit the clouds and the mountains in the background, and I should get a nice photograph now. I'm going to hang around for a bit longer because this is a lovely patch right at the top of Elan Valley. So I want to get some nice photographs here. I'll probably go closer in on some of these rocks if I can, because they're absolutely stunning. Where the water's eroded them, you can see nice little bendy patterns, and I think that might be useful to lead the eye into the image if I can get close enough. But the water's very high today, So I don't think I can get right up close to get that sort of photo. So I'm stepping back a bit more and getting more of a distant photograph. But I do like a lot of foreground interest, so I'm going to walk up the river and see what I can get. Right, I've had to come back in again. It's started to hail again, so it's really heavy. So I've come back in and I'm going to try and wait till it's to blow over, but I can't see anything at the moment. It's just complete cloud all the way down where the wind's coming from. So I hope that isn't the end of today's shoot, but it's really nice here, and I think this is probably my favourite bit so far, because the light on the background was absolutely stunning, and you get some really nice patterns in these rocks. So I want to make more of that if I can, but it's not the best weather to be outside. So there's a car park right next to this this river, so it's quite easy to photograph from. So I'm just waiting in the car for the moment, so I don't have to walk too far. So I'm just going to sit this one out and see if it passes or not. That is what I'm going out with. Right, I've just got another photograph quickly in between the hailstorm. We've got a bit of a shower now, but the light just came out. It was absolutely amazing. I didn't get time to video it, but I set the camera up to get a photograph of the little island thing, I suppose, there, all the way up to where this river's coming in at the background and leading up to the hills in the background there. And I think I managed to get a nice photograph. The light was absolutely stunning, but it's so cold and miserable. I found another composition, which is a vertical one to the one I took with that little island in it. There's another little tuft coming out of the water here, and the water is swirling around it, both sides. So what I wanted to try and do was get down here, and you can see the water is curving round, and I wanted that in the bottom of the frame, so you can see the water curving round both sides of the little tuft. And if I had a slow enough exposure, you can see that a lot better, because you get nice white leading lines going around it. And then I just had to wait for the sun to hit the mountain, which it's doing at the background, which is really stunning at the moment. The only problem with this is that the river down there, to get the nice composition, there's some lovely rocks on the riverbed that I wanted to try and get in the foreground as well. But the river's slightly deeper than my boots, so I've got a little bit wet. And today's not the best time to get wet. It's not summer, it's really cold. But as you can see in the background, the light is absolutely stunning now. So I'm going to try and find a few more compositions while I'm here, before it starts to hail again. Right, it's very wet down here, so you'll be lucky if I fall in. It'll make my video a little bit more interesting. Oh, this is a nice view. I'm going to get a nice photograph here, looking that way, over that view, with the rocks in the foreground. That looks beautiful. Right, that looks like it for today. It's really cold and miserable, and the light's gone, so I'm going to head back to the car now. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. And I really do like reading your comments, so if you have any comments on the photographs you like or didn't like, or even how to stay warm, then please do leave a comment. Thank you very much. So until next time, I'll see you later.